only issue.
Yeah, but the audio is going to play only for online. You can't.
I mean, it's literally just work.
Oh.
We're not missing it.
Okay. Seems like you guys are good to go.
Okay, they're okay.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all.
Hey everybody, how you doing? So we're going to start off with some quick introductions. My name is JJ. I am the director of competition for NACE. I oversee all competition sort of from the NACE perspective, and especially we're going to do over the competitive RFP. I'm going to hand this over to these two stunningly good-looking men next to me.
Hello, everybody. I am Andrew Barnett. I'm the CEO of LeagueSpot. I'm up here for no particular reason.
Why, thank you, Andrew. Curtis Winger, I'm with Playfly Esports, the Senior Director of Operations over there. And I oversee, similar to JJ, anything to do with competition, production, broadcast, live event management, etc.
So you gonna give me the clicker? You're going to go to the next slide. With great power comes great responsibilities, friends. Isn't that working?
I think it's
Okay. All right, Curtis, just go man the PowerPoint.
Let's go do this.
Well, this is embarrassing. I think I got to pull it up. No. Andrew,
Oh, I'm
some software person, come up here.
Are you, is it out of the way?
It's running off. It's running off screen.
Okay.
Okay. So
I don't know how I did that.
well, you're gonna do it again at some point. So we want to talk a little about like what is a competitive platform before we actually delved into the competitive platform. For us, competitive platform is an online platform for managing and administrating our events. Right? There's a lot of things that go into that. We have a couple of bullet points here: team management, scheduling, communication, reporting results. These are all very important things. And in our past, we've had some pretty painful platforms that have caused a lot of headaches for our members. So we are very cognizant over what goes into a competitive platform, how important this platform is to your day-to-day jobs, and sort of what we need out of it. And there's a lot of competitive platforms in our space, and they all do a lot of really good things. But as NACE members and as varsity programs, there's a lot of unique things to you guys that you guys need out of a platform that maybe other teams don't need. Examples of a platform, you have like Challenge, you have Battlefy, you have LeagueSpot, but that's just sort of what a competitive platform is and what we're looking for from it.
This is me. Well, my notes over here. What we looked at when we started was what, to JJ's point, what is a competitive platform? It is essentially the foundation that everything we do is built on. The way that you, your students, the way that you interact with us is through this competitive platform. So it's an incredibly important thing that we really wanted to make sure we did our due diligence on when we set out to identify a long-term partner that could provide us with competition software that we could then provide to you. A few of the things that we looked at were first reliability. The platform needs to do what we need it to do when we need to do it. At any given time, we may have hundreds or even thousands of people, players competing online, and their entire online experience is dependent on this platform. So we needed technology that we could count on to behave the way that we needed it to when we needed it. The second big thing we looked at was scalability. I think there's really two pieces to this. Scalable from a technology standpoint, and that's just the platform's ability to handle more and more and more users without necessarily hitting any bottlenecks. If we have several hundred schools that want to compete in a competition, we don't necessarily want the platform to be the blocker that prevents them from doing so. Scalability you can also look at from automation standpoint, that's to say the platform should really empower users to self-manage their own experience and take some of that burden off of the operations team. That's menial tasks like rescheduling, team management, forfeit, check-ins and forfeits, and actually logging all of that data. These are things that we have software that is designed to handle these tasks, put it in the hands of the players, and take us out of the equation, so we're not necessarily that bottleneck. The third thing we wanted to focus on was a EDU focus. We wanted the platform to be specific to EDU, and that's really, a lot of that just revolves around the concept of a school existing on the platform. A lot of platforms are very team heavy. There's a lot of players and there's a lot of teams, and that's kind of the end of the organization. But we felt it's important to have a top layer to that, where teams and players belong to a school, which then that sort of leads into the platform experience and what directors, what we can sort of empower the directors to do, which I'll touch on a little later on. Versatility was a fourth thing that we looked at when we were evaluating all of these platforms. Software should work for all types of users, regardless of their status. We know, everyone in this room, we have high functioning varsity programs that are participating with us. These are managed by directors, coaches. We also have club level programs that are participating, and we have rec and casual players that are participating just as a group of students. And I think we wanted to make sure that the experience for each one of those groups was as positive as it could be, and we didn't want to favor one of them at the expense of the others as often as possible. I think autonomy as administrators to run competition, the exact competition that we want, was a really important factor in all of this as well. We work with the Competition Council very closely to identify the exact structures that they want to put in place, and then it's on us to make sure that the platform provider can actually do what we all want it to do. And then I think there's also this piece right here. It also allows us to versatility, allows us to kind of handle nuanced things as they come up, issues, bugs, unexpected behavior. I'll give a very specific example, a Swiss example that we dealt with a few times, where teams that had just played one another did get matched up in subsequent rounds. Normally, you may have to regenerate the whole thing, or you just say, suck it up, and this is how it's got to be. We were able, because of the intricacies of the platform, the way that it's built, this was League Spot in the spring, we were able to actually just rebuild, select matches, and everybody else was able to kind of carry on without any blockage there at all. The fifth major thing that we looked at was user friendliness. Software should be easy to work with, and it should have all of the features necessary to operate a Premier League, things like rescheduling, things that we've already talked about. All of these we see as absolutely necessary to operate a league in the way that we want to operate it, rescheduling, forfeits. Big one is just empowering team managers to actually oversee their broad group of students. Match chat is a big thing, not necessarily trying to hunt people down through Discord. They're right there, right on the match pages, right when you need them to be. And then the last thing we looked at, and this was an incredibly important thing, was day one readiness. Something we were all very unified on when we set out to identify this partner, was that we wanted the platform to be in a place ready to take our competition the day we decided to move forward. We did not want to be relying on development resources, roadmaps, kind of promises that the product would be where we needed it to be when we needed it to be there. When that's the case, you do sometimes end up with concessions, and that's not what we wanted. That's not what we wanted for this group. That's not what we want for NACE Star League. So those were kind of the 6 things that we looked at. They were They were much more granular, much more broken out into actual features when we went through this, but kind of at a broad level. Those are the factors that we looked at when we identified this. Now I gotta go click.
Oh, look at that. So I want to talk a little about the process and timeline. For people that have been NACE members for more than a couple of years, you know that we have hopped platforms several times. I think we're on our 4th or 5th platform since 2018. We knew going in that we wanted to get a real partner in the space, and we had to really set out a process and a timeline so that we had the due diligence to really look for all the platforms and make sure that we picked the right one. So when we went out, we created an RFP, and this RFP was created by a working subgroup. The subgroup consisted of members of operations, both from NACE's end and from Playfly's end. It consisted of members of the board of directors, and it consisted of members of the competition council. And that entire subgroup was meeting weekly and soliciting feedback from other leadership groups, along with members from the surveys that we put out, to really find out sort of what the features are that we want to see in a platform, what our members need in a platform, and where we want the space to move going forward. So from February to March, we sort of built out this RFP, and every week we come in and like, these are the features we want, like this would be a really cool idea to have. And so around mid-April, we finished sort of our draft of what we were looking for in an RFP, and we distributed it to a lot of major platforms in the space. As sort of the RFP started getting submitted from other groups, we had meetings with this working subgroup, and we went to demos. We had the pitch decks. We went through the entire sort of process with our subgroup, which led us up to sort of June. And the group went ahead and we selected some finalists, we demoed them, and then we give our feedback to the competition council, and the CC was sort of a recommendation for the group. And then both the competition council and the board of directors have signed off on the platform. I'm very excited about the platform. And as you see on the announcement, July 2021 announced the National Convention, this is where we are now. So we're getting ready to announce our competitive platform for the upcoming year. We have a little scissor reel to play. I have to drag it over to the other monitor.
So this is a massive shout out to the League Spot marketing team who put together.
Well,
It's on
it
the
is
screen.
now.
It's on the screen. Who cares?
It's on the screen.
There's some really cool music, techno music that goes along with it. It's not going to play here because we don't have a speaker. So
It's playing to the Zoom call.
Yeah, assume that there's like some beeps and boops, techno music going on in your head as you watch this. That's right. No, it's a meme.
It's not playing for my people. Oops, I broke it. I was trying to get it to play for the people in the Zoom call. No, I'm gonna give them the link. That's not what I wanted. Let's rewind it just a little bit. Yeah, right. A lot of these are a lot of features that we've really worked hard to get sort of implemented. And I'm really excited for a lot of the things that are coming to the platform. Yeah, I'm gonna throw it to you. I'm gonna get this presentation back on the
Perfect.
platform.
Yeah, so that wasn't as exciting as it will be once we send out the whole video, which we will do. Who here has personally, raise of hands, used LeagueSpot before, personally? So a fair bit of people. I, coming into this, and we were lucky enough to be a part of this early on through the season in the spring, and we had a great time, and hopefully LeagueSpot was able to make some of your lives easier, especially from some past experiences. I think one of the things that we wanted to come in and accomplish is like not allowing this concept of the competition platform to be a barrier to the things that you want to do. And I think the reality is, in the past, none of you wake up thinking about the competition website. You don't think about, hey, here's the things I love, I want to go spend time on it. In many ways, it really is a barrier to your ability to run your program, to meet other people, to conduct competition and run the things that you have to run at your school. And I think that we coming in, and we had gone through a 2-month development sprint. We built a lot of things, automated reschedules, which totally didn't work at first. A lot of other fun things, improving the experience of check-in and match chat and all these, fun abilities to like engage with the other team. And I think the reality is that we saw that all as table stakes. LeagueSpot is a platform, and I'll kind of talk a little bit about what we've done. Our goal is not to come in here and say, hey, we're LeagueSpot, we're the platform, we're whatever. This should feel integrated to NACE Star League. This should feel like your thing. Everything that we build is not stuff that we're saying, hey, this is going to go make LeagueSpot a ton of money. We're building it because it's stuff that is building value to the schools here. And that's kind of what our promise has been. So at LeagueSpot, the mission that we talk about all the time is we're building the backbone of the entire amateur esports part of the industry. That means collegiate, that means youth recreation, that means high school, that means everything between, and plugging all of these things in so that kids can come in and start playing esports in elementary and middle school, go basically build their digital resumes. And as they go through school, they get access to colleges, NACE Star League members who are wanting to recruit more and more kids into their programs and use it as an engagement and a retention tool and a recruitment tool for everything they do. And our goal is to go and empower those things. So we want to continue building tools where you guys actually feel like hooking into the LeagueSpot ecosystem through what we're doing through NACE Star League allows you to better run and market your school, run your business, accomplish a lot of the things that you want to accomplish. And so our hope is that everything that we're talking about and building here follows that kind of mission, especially now that we're able to do it over the next 3 years. So moving forward, and I think we had spent this last spring kind of getting to that level that Curtis was talking about, which is here's all the different things that we have to do. Here's what it needs to be able to do day one. Here's what's going to make members not hate it, for lack of a better way of saying it. Moving forward, everything that we're doing that you saw on that profile, or not that profile, on that presentation right there, our goal is that you can use LeagueSpot as your sort of marketing hub. School personalization and your ability to actually put together, let's say, almost like a social media profile with all of your branding and some customization for your profile, your ability to use it as a communication tool to actually get in touch with your members. We didn't talk about it there, but we're working on a mobile app, and that mobile app allows people to get in and check in and talk to their opponents, all over from their phone, as opposed to needing to go to the website. So from the end of this, I think the way that we want this to look is we want people to be excited about getting onto LeagueSpot through NACE Star League and using it as an engagement tool, going there for the day of the stream, right? All the different schools that are streaming can show up on this concept of League View that we use, which is basically a grid of all the different schools. If I'm a student, I can start to upload content and, again, build that digital resume where over time I can use LeagueSpot as my profile, where if I've got friends who want to know, hey, what are you doing in esports? I can say, yeah, go to my LeagueSpot profile, right? Here's the trophies I won. Here's all the different things that I've participated in. Here's the 5 best plays I've made over the last 4 years at my particular university. Those are the things that we want to drive moving forward. The last thing I'll sort of say on this is that we're not always going to be perfect. And I think, there was a bar set by some of the past experiences, and hopefully we were able to go past that bar. But things aren't always going to be perfect. What I do commit to is that we really care. We love NACE Star League. I would say it's one of our favorite clients to work with internally at LeagueSpot. The stuff that we've been able to build together, it excites us. We get up in the morning, we think about, hey, how do we make collegiate esports better? And I think everyone in this room would say this is the premier collegiate esports thing happening in the world. It's just the truth. I think everyone here in this room agrees with that. And so the goal is not how do we make this like everything else. It's how do we go above and beyond and really drive value of being a NACE member as a part of this. So anyway, I'm excited to be here. I'm really excited to build value. Please give feedback. There were a ton of things that came in during our development phase last year that were things that coaches were requesting. And we kind of dropped everything and went and did those things. JJ here listens to everybody. He cares very deeply about what you people think. He really, really, really wants to make everyone happy. And, we're kind of aligned on that, and we're all on that. So anyway, thank you. I really appreciate being here. Feel free to reach out to me at any time if you have any direct feedback that you want to give. Otherwise, I'm happy to be involved and look forward to working together for the next 3 years. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, we have, so pulled out of the video, there are a few examples here of things that were talked about. We're happy to kind of dive into these in a little more detail if we want to. Now, we don't necessarily have to do that. We know the platform can be a contentious thing. We did want to give time for questions and time for discussion if there was anybody that wanted to speak. Michael Brooks.
That you tell me no. Can we go to the video and as we're talking about the new things that are coming out, can you pause that and just add a little more context to it so that everyone can understand?
So everything from the video
Those are
is
here,
on
yeah.
this list right here. So we actually cherry picked it off the video and we put it on this slide right here. I can make the slide bigger if I can.
Could you make that bigger and maybe elaborate a little bit so
Yeah, from parents.
make sure everyone knows what API means, for example?
Curtis, you want to go down this? Or
Yeah,
or Andrew?
Testing? Yeah,
Yep,
there we go.
you're good.
So here's the list of the roadmap items that we're working on right now. Basically, as a part of this RFP process, there was a list of things that NACE Star League said, hey, we really want to expand the experience of this. And again, not just make it an administrative platform. What are the first set of value added items that we can put on it? So I'm going to go through these bit by bit. Please feel free to raise your hand, interrupt me if you want to talk a little bit more about any of these. The first one is school page customization options. I think that the way that we wrote that even sort of undersells it. Our goal is to allow your school page to be the branding home of everything that you're doing. And so when you're streaming, you show up there. You're able to upload absolutely anything that you have around a branding side, all of your social media links, messages of the day, all kinds of other things that we actually have on this roadmap. And the goal is that, again, we want you to have the ability on your public Twitter to say, hey, here's our LeagueSpot profile, right? Here's everything we're doing across esports. Here's all the different clips. Here's all the trophies we've run. Here's all the different things that we've participated in. This is what makes my school awesome. And that's what we're trying to build with this. In that, part of that is an expanded Twitch functionality. Our goal with Twitch is that I think in terms of content, there's a lot of kids who want to be able to elevate their stream, assuming that their stream has been approved by NACE, where they can go and they can stream directly to their LeagueSpot profile, and it will actually elevate them, to the front page and to the group of people that are actively streaming, and they can basically get out there and be seen just by being a part of the NACE network.
Yeah, so the goal around here, the goal around the expanded Twitch functionality is there's a couple things. So on the actual LeagueSpot hub page, we would like to be able to embed sort of your stream there. But beyond that, like on individual match pages, let's say if it's like Flint versus ECPI, right? So you have your players, you have your starters. We'd like to see sort of the Flint stream here and the ECPI stream here. So if anybody has any questions or they want to tune in, it's a great way to bring awareness to the stream. It also makes it very easy on the user to find what they're looking for.
And one of the other things that you're going to see is on your school profile page, if you're actively streaming, it's going to pop up there. And so we like, our goal is to create content entry points pretty much everywhere that you are on LeagueSpot to be able to see what's going on. Next, some of the embeddable UI components. This is worded a little interestingly. One of the common things that people have consistently reached out about is that if you run your own school's marketing site, it would be awesome if you could go on that marketing site, see how the particular school is doing in all the different competitions. And so the way that this looks is it's all these different embeddable components where basically you can embed a little LeagueSpot view of the standings of whatever you're currently participating in on your own websites elsewhere. That's just an example. We're going to be doing a lot of different functionality pieces of that, but the goal of that is that if you're trying to maintain your own presence elsewhere, you're going to be able to use this feature in the back. Across all these items or specifically across the Twitch work? Quickly, the intention is before the start of the season. And we're in the middle of a lot of the road mapping exercises, so that isn't a promise, but it's among the realm of difficult things to do. It's not very difficult. So soon, TM. API integrations and other game-specific features. A couple things that we're looking to do there. So Riot Games through League of Legends, for those of you that compete in the junior varsity program within NACE Star League, basically you should be able to have a fully automated match with tournament lobby codes, the kinds of things that you would expect in any particular tournament. The beauty of that is that when you go through that pipeline, you can then start to collect a lot of statistics on how the players have done over the course of the seasons. A lot of the work that we want to do is around data. And so if you were able to export basically, hey, here's all my League of Legends players, here's their KDA over the season, right? Here's the different stats you could look at. We're basically playing the money ball of esports here. That would be really valuable. So we're doing that. Some of the other things that we're doing, playing Smash Bros, for example, you should be able to do things like stage strikes in character selection in platform. We're doing some work on Hearthstone so that we can directly support making Hearthstone easier and doing it on LeagueSpot. There's a few others that we have on the roadmap, but I think the goal of that is you should be able to join LeagueSpot and do everything that's special and unique about this game all completely within platform so that you don't have to go to different places to do it. Team hierarchies. What was that one? Remember? Yeah, varsity. So one of the big things, and actually JJ's been a big proponent of this. Yeah, totally. He really wanted the designation of what's a varsity team and what that means to be kind of out front on LeagueSpot. And so you'd get special badges applied by NACE staff if you were a varsity team being a part of a varsity competition. So more of that later. Some of that is kind of a data backend thing. Some of that is kind of that official seal of approval. Hey, we are the official varsity team. But yeah, our goal is basically to elevate what's going on in varsity and making it kind of look a little bit different than just what's going on through the rest of competition. Expanded check-in functionality. So I'll be quick on this one. We recently developed a big feature that we are pushing pretty much all around Scholastic called Auto Matcher. The goal of Auto Matcher is it's an automated queue system that allows you to avoid forfeits. For a lot of the things that are kind of weekend tournaments and more casual types of things, we really want to use this because I think, you know, when you've got kids and you've been practicing all week and you want to show up and play, there's nothing worse than, you know, not being able to play against someone, especially week after week after week. It's the biggest thing that plagues collegiate esports, and we're fixing it. So that's really exciting. Trophies, you know, achievements, some of the things that we're looking at there. At the end of the day, we want kids, students, and ultimately schools to be able to say, hey, here's what we've done over the last 4 years. You go to that page and you say, hey, here's the prestige of our school. Here's all of the different things that we were able to do. This is what we've won. This is what we've participated in. In terms of students, one of the things that we've talked about is how do you go beyond the game, academic achievements and some of those other things. So that will be kind of towards the latter half of this year, but see that coming. It's going to be really exciting. Finally, updated look and feel. Yeah, this one's really exciting. And so you probably saw at the very end of that video, we're building a new landing page, the home of NACE. Our hope is that we don't want this to just feel like an administrative thing. We want all of the content, everything that's going on to be centered in on this page. And so when you go and you say, hey, here's how many schools are participating, that's actually live data, right? We've got that ticker that comes across the top that says, hey, here's the matches going on. We want people to show up to this and say, wow, this is really the biggest thing in collegiate esports right now. And right now, I don't think that we've necessarily lived up to making it feel that way. And that's why we're building some of this. So it's going to be an awesome updated look and feel. Really, really good job from the Playfly marketing team who was able to put together a lot of the new branding around this. We turned this around in about a week and I'm really excited about it. So anyway, expect that to come before the start of the season. Lots more stuff. We'll talk about it later. Hope you guys are excited about LeagueSpot and what we're able to do with this partnership.
Yeah, so here we're going to open it up for questions, sort of about anything related to the competition platform. I'm looking for Zoom. There's no Zoom questions yet, but any kind of questions you guys want to have, any of the three of us up here can go ahead and answer them for you.
So with the LeagueSpot platform, are you making it a little easier to have campuses to be able to distinguish themselves? As far as like, say, Big Brother in Ann Arbor versus our campus. We initially did the sign up. Everything we did was attached to, and I understand why it was. It's because it's email address. We all fall under commission. We had to go through a couple processes.
So currently as constructed, if you just message me with that, either email or Discord, I can set up an entirely new hub on LeagueSpot for Flint in less than 30 seconds. So all you have to do is reach out to me or any of these guys, and we literally can spit it up for you nearly instantly.
What we could even do is, with a little additional time, we could separate out the existing teams that are under Flint, any of the data, past matches, and we can attribute it to the new school. So if that would be really helpful for you, we'd be willing to do that too. Yeah.
Be careful. It's a mistake, right?
That's all that matters.
So last year when we were like getting up to the game day, it was really hard to get in touch with the other team to like make sure they were actually moving on that day. And while we put our Discord names on our profile and whatnot, is there going to be a way that like say the administrators and such will get the notifications that there is a new chat happening, or is there a way that is there an easier way for us to get a hold of whoever is the actual main contact for those teams? Because the way it was like we have the administration, but you didn't know who was doing what. Is that going to be something?
Yeah, so there's three things that we're doing to solve that problem, because I agree it was a huge problem. One of the big things is general chat improvements. Curtis has been asking about this for a long time, basically attributing particular roles to people.
Hold up. So when they ask a question, can you repeat the question? Because the people in Zoom cannot hear the question. They can only hear the answer.
So the question was basically that last year it was really difficult leading up to game day to basically get in touch with people because they were receiving no notifications that someone had reached out to them directly. And so the question is what are we doing to solve that problem and make it easier leading up to game day to basically start those conversations with people without having to reach out on Discord? So the answer is that we're doing three things. One of which is that we're upgrading chat and we're improving it so that you can actually see the roles and the teams. And like when someone comes into chat, I need to know that they're the direct manager. Last year, we added a coach role. That would be one of the roles that's included in those chat upgrades, just so you know who's talking. That's number one. That's a small thing. The bigger problem is basically notifications. When someone reaches out to me, how do I know that I've been reached out to? We're solving that in two ways. We're going to be starting to do notification emails. If any of you use LinkedIn, sometimes you get a message 3 days later via email that says, hey, someone messaged you. You've missed 5 messages type of thing. So we're building that, number one. Number two, that is why we're pushing the mobile app so hard. Right now, there's no direct way to get like a notification to your phone that says, hey, someone's reached out to you via the LeagueSpot chat. That mobile app will fix that problem where we can now deliver push notifications to people that are signed up via the app that says, hey, you have a new message on this particular match. So it's a tough problem to solve, but I think with all of those things implemented, that'll be a lot easier. I don't know if that's going to be day one, and we're going to basically talk about what are the simplest things we can do to solve that problem. Day one, kind of good enough as we work towards the perfect solution.
So there was a question that came in on Zoom. The question is, LeagueSpot is going to be our central hub, but what if we compete in random tournaments not through NACE? Are we still welcome to stream them to LeagueSpot platform? What if the competition is on a different platform?
You are welcome to do whatever you want, is the answer to that, very simply. we are here to provide the tools. The way you use it, we are not going to be opinionated over. So you are very free to do that.
Is the like university switch, is that gonna be on the API, is that automatic whenever you go live, it'll be on the NACE platform, or is it something like that?
Yeah. So the question was, when you go live, is that automatically going to show up live on Twitch? Is that automatically going to show up in my personal profile on the NACE platform? And the answer is yes. Basically, what we do is we have a link where you can link your account to a particular school page. And what we do is whenever you hit that page, the system goes and says, hey, is this account currently live? If so, it pulls it in, and basically it's going to show up on your profile. Other interesting questions too, in my personal opinion. I think this is a good forum. Obviously, we'll have more opportunities. If you have feedback, things that you'd like to see, at the end of the day, I am not a manager at one of your schools. I don't know exactly what you're looking for. We have a pretty good idea. JJ, once again, has been incredible about collecting feedback. If there's ever something that's like, hey, this would be really valuable to my school, the embed thing, the ability to go and say, hey, I want to put the standings on my website. That was an example of something that somebody asked. So if you want to talk about, hey, technologically over the next 3 years, even if it's kind of a big thing, what could be really valuable to my program? This would be a perfect forum.
Statistics.
Statistics is one of them. Yeah, that's long-term. And as we've gone through this, obviously we've talked about this roadmap. What are we doing over this season? There is a question about, okay, but what are we doing in terms of really big fun things over the next 3 years? Statistics is one of those things. For those of you that know a little bit more about the tech side, it's really difficult on a game-to-game basis to collect statistics of what happens in these games. Rocket League is a perfect example. There's no open API that is given directly by Psyonix where I can go say, hey, what was the game? Who scored all the goals? You know, whose league spot account do each of those tie to, et cetera. So we're going to be solving that problem. Some games are easier than others, and I would expect that to be a rollout. But by the end of this, just like if you're, you know, a college baseball club or college football, you should be able to collect and maintain all of these statistics for all kinds of reasons, helping you make decisions about, you know, who's going to be on the team and who's starting, right? Being able to attribute these to these kids' digital resumes so that they can go and say, hey, I'm a KDA player in League of Legends. Like, these are all the different value points there. And I think once we unlock that, we're going to have something really special.
I know there was a question over here.
I may have missed it and whatnot, but if I have a list of potential clients or customers that are interested in doing this spot or even Playfly, all three of those together in like a price pack. I'm wondering if it's a price packet or the price is all separate. You know, so are we paying for Playfly and Leapfly and NACE? Is that how that works in this particular scenario?
When you say a list of customers, what do you mean by that?
What's that?
When you say if I have a list of potential customers, who are you referring to?
Just the general public that I can provide a resource for and as a solution approach.
Yeah, I would say anything revolving around that, you should reach out directly to NACE. You know, what I will say in terms of collegiate, NACE has an offering. NACE schools don't pay additionally to be a part of the League Spot network. It's all included in the membership. But yeah, if you have any more questions about that, we can give you some resources who to reach out to about NACE. Yep, exactly. Yep.
Is there a way to deputize or to pass like some kind of admin powers to other users? You don't have to use one login or rely on one person for the entire team.
Yeah, so the way that it works today.
Restate the question. They
Oh,
can't hear you.
sorry. Once again. So the question was basically, is there a way to give admin powers to more people within a university so that multiple people can basically moderate the university? That exists today in your League Spot school page. Under your membership, you can specifically invite managers. Those managers have God mod power over everything that happens within that school. So that exists today, and you can have as many managers as you want. You can also invite people to be specifically coaches for specific teams. So they get access to do all the things you could do with a team, but not necessarily over the entire organization.
I don't know if this is they forfeited a couple games, so should have been taken out. But they were left in for weeks after, and so we got matched up against teams. It's like an auto forfeit. Is there a way to, if a team forfeits multiple games, it should be kicked out of the league to have that auto removed? So we kind of have an idea, and we actually get matched up with games going forward and not against teams that we know are playing anymore.
Yeah, we're trying to address that. I think. Oh, yes. The question, the question was, if a team forfeits out multiple times, the example given was Swiss, can they be removed automatically? The answer to that question, I think can be yes. We are addressing it in a slightly different way. Taking feedback from everybody last year, moving away from Swiss broadly to smaller rank-based divisions, essentially, that will all play. I don't want to give away too much information that we're talking about tomorrow.
I would love that.
Yes, but yeah, we definitely recognize that as an issue. It is something that we do try to address on a manual basis. It is in the rule book in that way also, but we're hoping that this transition to a different format will also help to alleviate that.
So on top of the forfeiting issue, so in all of our rule sets, we remove teams after 2 forfeits. The issue there is we haven't historically, the CC hasn't wanted to just immediately remove them. There's some due diligence in the process. There's, hey, did you actually play this match and nobody reported the score? Because a lot of the I would say 30% of forfeits currently are not actually forfeits. They're teams that haven't reported data. So we want to make sure that if we remove a team for not playing a game, that they really didn't play the game. So if, let's say that like there's a match game and it's CSGO and they play on Friday nights, and if you forfeited your previous 2 games, someone on the admin staff is going to email you and make sure that you actually didn't play the game. We're going to reach out to the team, and that process takes a little bit of time. Some schools aren't as fast to respond as others. So we want to make sure that when we remove a school that it's absolutely final, because a lot of times when you remove a school, there's once that button has been pressed, there is not an undo button. So we want to make sure that it's all done appropriately and through the proper channels. Granted, some of that has slipped through the cracks. I know that there was a couple different events and a couple different leagues where there was teams that were forfeiting and they should have been removed sooner. We're constantly working to get better, and that's definitely a point of contention, and we want to make sure that we do it absolutely to the best of our ability. So forfeiting is an issue that we take incredibly seriously. Just to sum it up.
I have another question. So last year, if I remember correctly, the list of dates of competition was on a team by team, like you had to go to the individual team page to check it out. And then later on, I think y'all added where you could like click on it in the tab. But is there a way that the directors or whoever is on the administrative part could get like a master list of all of the teams that they are managing? Of like every, you know what I'm saying? Like every day, be like so-and-so versus so-and-so, and then like League of Legends or something, you know what I'm saying?
Would you, so the question was basically, it's really difficult as a director to go and understand a broad view of your schedule across all of the teams. And so even though we did go and basically put together a match schedule on a team by team basis on the teams page, is there going to be a way that we can then see basically a master calendar view? My follow-up question to that is, would you presume that to be shown as a calendar type view? Like, would it be great to be able to go to your org page and say, hey, here's the calendar of everything coming up?
Either way.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It's something we've talked about. It's not directly on the short-term roadmap, but it's definitely documented. It's something that we want to do, and I see no reason why we shouldn't do that quickly. So yours first. Yes, right. So the question was, is it called a dashboard? So we did actually just ship a dashboard feature. I think some of you have seen it. It was shipped probably in the middle of the season. The goal of that holistic feature is that it doesn't matter what role I am. If I'm a coach, I can go to that page and get kind of a view of holistically what's important to me right now, right? So what are the seasons that my teams are competing in? What's the list of teams that I'm currently managing? If I'm a kid, it's a button to go and actually get into my match page and join the chat. So we just shipped that with a couple of components that we find are useful. In general, that particular page, we're going to be shipping a lot more features in little kind of micro components to where more and more, as you go to LeagueSpot, you should have a one-page view of what's important to us. So that calendar, for example, probably would live on that page. Should be really useful.
So you were talking earlier about the embeds, and I saw a calendar was one of the options for the embed. Is that a team by team basis for the calendars then?
So today, I don't believe we're doing anything on a team by team. Sorry, question. The question was about the embeds. And the question was specifically, are there any embeds currently on a team by team basis? So that doesn't exist yet. I think I would ask, what requirement are you looking for?
So
what would be really valuable to you?
I'm looking for if I'm going to do the embed calendar, I would like it to be all of the games instead of each.
And when you say in what was said was, if I'm going to do the embed calendar, I would want it for everything across all my teams and not by a team by team basis. And what would the use case be? Are you intending to, on your school's marketing site, basically say, hey, here's all of the upcoming events of things that we're participating in? So the short answer is yes, that would be easy to do. Yep, absolutely, we can do that.
So is your API open? Like my developers want it. Like, what they're asking for, if you have an open API, my developers can pull that information.
So yeah, the question is does LeagueSpot have an open API that a school's programmers can go and basically pull all this data in a way they would want to? The short answer is it's not open, but do reach out because we can give access. I would say that as we're approaching scale, we need to kind of implement a strategy around things like rate limiting and making sure that someone doesn't take our API and basically DDoS us and bring the system down for the stuff that they want to do. It is very rare that that's the case. That we found. So reach out directly to us. We will give you access and then you can pull whatever you want. Yeah. And so that is an option, by the way. Both of those things do try to accomplish the same thing where we want to give you access to these embeddable components. If you're not developers and you have like a WordPress site or a Squarespace site that you run as kind of the lead of your marketing, we want to give you some really simple things that you can throw on those pages without having to think about it. If you have CS students or you have developers or programmers, and there's something a little more fun or custom or unique where you want direct API access to all of that data, we can give that to you. Just reach out and we can kind of talk about what are you going to do with it. And then we can give you documentation, how to use it, et cetera.
So we have 5 minutes left until the next session starts. I want to make sure we get all the questions. So for the online people, if you want to go ahead and drop your questions in chat, I know we've already answered a couple of them, that'd be great. And then anybody else in the room for any other questions, we do have five minutes left to answer whatever you have. And then obviously, if we don't get to all the questions, you can pull me aside whenever, and I'm going to volunteer these two as well.
I just really wanted to quickly add, Andrew touched on it earlier, but talking short-term versus long-term, I think one of the real benefits that we're going to be able to see as part of this 3-year arrangement that we've decided to move forward with is we're going to get to address not only small immediate things, but really these kind of big picture things that could be groundbreaking in the space that maybe will take a little bit more time to get to, but we've allotted ourselves the opportunity to do that by truly making this a partnership. It's not just a one and done. We're going to work together to build this product up for the good of you all.
I don't have any questions online. Is there any other questions? If not, we can wrap the session up, but I don't want to rush anybody out the door.
Cool. Thank you very much.